Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is Griever back here, bringing you guys the latest in the behind the bar reviews. This week's chapter of One Piece 925 is entitled Blank. And even though Wano Act 2 starts halfway through, they have the intro. Watch Gone with the Wind, people. Watch Gone with the Wind. It's a great movie. It's not the greatest movie of all time, like some people told, but it is a fantastic movie. It's the same thing. You have the intermission. You have that intro, where it's just music, that 15 minutes where people change the stage in a play. It's the same idea. I guarantee you, Oda is going to do the 5-act play. I guarantee you this, because Wano Act 1 was quite short, even for the standard of a 3-act play. That being said, we're going to see each of these happen. We got a cutaway for half a chapter of just information with other characters. It's a good time to jump. It flows with the story. It makes sense. I love it. And that means when Wano Act 2 ends, we will get another thing. We will probably not jump back to the characters we just saw, like Mihawk. Mihawk's here, and a new look of Blackbeard. I know everyone's hyped about Blackbeard, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. And stuff like that. No, we'll probably jump maybe back over to the Reverie and see something. Or maybe we'll jump over, like a lot of people said, we might jump back to Reverie, but we kind of get the information, so it works. Very information heavy, this chapter. When Wano Act 2 ends, we will likely jump over to somebody, maybe Sabo and, I don't know, Shanks? Maybe, potentially. We will probably continuously jump to different characters to get the gist of what's going on in the world while Wano's going on. So, that being said, that's just a theory, but let's move on. Let's move on to the actual chapter. Now, let's start with Mihawk and Perona. Now, I like this exchange, I really do, because it shows why Perona's there. It shows the relationship between Perona and Mihawk. And we see Mihawk being a badass, world's strongest swordsman, all that stuff. Now, a lot of people don't hold Mihawk in high regard anymore because he was introduced very early in the story, and honestly, we have seen very little from him. However, I argue Shanks. Same deal. Anyways, point of the matter is, love Mihawk, think he's definitely top 10, he's awesome. Now, we see that Gecko Moria is alive with a zombie army, and apparently is front page news, went on a raid, all that stuff, like a raid with the zombie army. It does not say which island he raided, but clearly he's back in action, he's doing his stuff. I was very curious to see if he had a new look, like an honest new look, or if he had leveled up or something, but he, suffice to say, basically looks like the same character we left at the time skip. Now, we also see that Mihawk is just kind of sitting there thinking about the news, reading the paper. Perona's giving us basically the rundown. Why didn't you tell me? This is big news. Master Moria is alive. I'm so happy. I'm going to leave here. Oh, you care about me? I'm going to stay. She's all over the map with this stuff. Mihawk's just like, whatever. Now, the thing is that Perona claims she's going to leave after they have a little spat that she kind of creates. The issue here, the real issue, is that Mihawk knows. Because Mihawk says, it might be a good idea that you do leave this island. She's like, what? Strange things are happening at Reverie. Now, I like to go through One Piece generally. Now, with other series, with Seven Deadly Sins and One Piece, I like to go through panel by panel without going down spoilers and coming back and stuff, because it gets all over the map. Shokugeki no Soma currently is a little different, but suffice to say I like to. But I just want to talk about this one thing before we jump over to Gecko Moria's section and Blackbeard's section, is that when he says strange things are happening at Reverie, without spoiling too much, now I'm assuming everyone who watches the review read the chapter, so it's not really a spoiler, but the strange things happening at Reverie, I believe that he recognizes that even his title of being a Shishibukai may or may not be in jeopardy, and he might not hold that title for very much longer. He might be an active pirate once again, or something similar. He realizes that shit's going down, this place isn't necessarily safe anymore. The world is changing, the big players, the heavyweights are coming out. So, things are going down. After this, we see that Gecko Moria is apparently on Honeycomb Island, something like that. We see the big pirate skull, very classic. The skull carved into a rock form sort of idea. Looks very interesting. And we see that Gecko Moria is after Teach. Now, a lot of people will say, and I'm going to say it up front, Moria leveled up. I'm not saying he's super strong, but he must have leveled up. The reason I say this is because Gecko Moria managed to not only, after escaping from what happened at Marineford and the like, managed to stay alive and now has entered the New World, and not just entered the New World, but has gone as far as Teach's territory. Now, I can with confidence say that Shanks probably owns his islands that are under his sway. For the most part, his territory is probably closest to the end of the New World. He owns that vicinity of islands, shall we say. That may or may not be the case. Once again, it's not exactly clean-cut sectioned or anything like that. But I would garner that Teach right now on this island is probably quite deep inside the New World. And Moria managed to get there with very little crewmen, it seems. Very little of real crewmen. Absalom apparently was with him for a time. And the zombie army. And he's been raiding some islands in the New World. So, very, very interesting that. I'm very curious to how strong he's become, because he managed to get this far. You're telling me he didn't encounter any opposition? The New World is supposed to be the harshest. It's Yonko land. That's where even the Marines don't even tread. Suffice what people think. Even Akainu's not going into Whole Cake Island with, guns blazing, thinking he's, an old cowboy or something. So, I just posed the question in the comments before we move on. How strong do you think Gecko Moria currently is? Now, there's a lot to uncover when Gecko Moria starts bashing around this Honeycomb Island, this Teach's Island, demanding where the hell Teach is. Now, we see a few of the commanders of the Admiral's fleet, Admiral Blackbeard, as he is now called by his crew and his subordinates and the like. We see a couple of the captains, one that resembles like Jack the Corrupt King, and of course Lady Devon. Now, here, this does not confirm anything necessarily, but if we can take everything at face value, is that what Gecko Moria states is that, of course, Absalom went there, by the sounds of it, whether by Gecko Moria's orders or doing his job as a reporter now, he went to Teach's Island. And the issue is, this is kind of heart-wrenching. This is weird. So Gecko's there, and everyone's like, okay, why didn't anybody stop him? It's like he's cutting his way through, and it's like, wow, so did Moria level up or something? Then we see that Absalom seems to be fine, and he was just doing his perverted stuff. After this, we see that Gecko Moria's like, I must have done these guys wrong because, the Blackbeard pirates are famous for hunting down devil fruits. They're devil fruit collectors. And I was very worried your power is something that's would be very useful to anybody. And from what we see, Blackbeard thought so too. Blackbeard really thought so, because after this we see boom, slash, something hit Moria in the side. He looks over. He's like, what hit me? Shiryu of the Rain. We see him. He's not looking very much different after time skip or anything like that. Still, Shiryu of the Rain, one of the main combatants, one of the best crew members Blackbeard has at his disposal. And he's got the clear fruit. Well, Absalom's dead. Who's that up there? Devon. With another mythical. I'm very surprised. Well, I shouldn't be surprised. See, the Blackbeard pirates are going to be loaded full of zones, paramecias, and they're just going to be loaded. They're going to be loaded with Logias. They'll be loaded with mythical, ancients, the whole special, the whole 9 yards. They'll be loaded with everything because their specific task is hunting down. When I first read it, I was like, you think you would have saved the mythical zones for Kaido's crew and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's not like everybody else in the world can't have one. That just wouldn't make sense. So I was just like, whoa, okay, so this is happening now. So Shuri of the Rain has the clear fruit. Gecko Moria recognizes this, realizes, shit, that's Absalon's power. What did you do to Absalon? And then, well, who the hell are you? Jumps down, it's Devon. She's got the dog fruit, mythical model nine-tailed fox. She's a kitsune, or the nine-tailed fox, which, Ninetales from Pokemon, Naruto, with the nine-tailed demon. A lot of different things surrounding that, but suffice it to say, kitsune magic, taking on different forms, hiding yourself, the leaf on the head thing, popular in Inuyasha, another manga and anime series. So, very basic, just kitsune magic, illusionary magic, tricksters, that's what they do. Now, this is very sad because just driving that knife in, I felt bad for Moria for some reason. I really did, because I was just like, I don't like Moria very much, but the whole don't worry about it. It's like, Absalom, what happened? That's his fruit. What did you do? It's like, well, we still got the corpse if you want it. You like corpses, don't you? Just that line, just like, twist, like, like, once again, that's just a bitch slap in the face. Like, something about that, I don't know. Either way, Moria demands that Teach get out there and explain himself and all that stuff. He says, we hear Blackbeard, he starts up his Gura powers, stolen Gura powers. He starts an earthquake, he says, I don't want to, I'm relaxing and stuff. But hey, Pirate Islands, show the world, join my crew. And screw that. 2 point. He's got over 2 billion berry bounty, our first confirmation of a Yonko bounty. Once again, the lowest one. I can say that with ease. Lowest one. He's got only 2 years as a Yonko at the most. Track record aside, does not matter. Guarantee ya that Kaido and Big Mom and Shanks and Whitebeard before him all had higher bounties. Nonetheless, highest bounty seen, a little lower than I expected. I thought that Blackbeard would have a 3 billion berry bounty. I said no lower than 3, but not much higher. Definitely not 4 or 5. But I think it's a little low. But once again, when you take into consideration he's only been a Yonko a maximum of 2 years, how much devastation, Marineford was an exception, but for a guy to go from 0 to 2.2, that's an insane jump. I think it's 2.247 if I remember correctly. Billion with a B. Like, and he looks great. He's finally got the black beard. He's looking much more like Edward Teach did. He's looking much more like a pirate king, a pirate captain, a pirate lord. He looks very much more real. He looks more Yonko-y than before, in my opinion. I really enjoy his new look. Now, he's the one who drops us a bunch of news bombs. Suffice it to say, the Gecko Moria stuff, he just says, hey Moria, you should join my crew. Like, you might as well. Here's what's going on in the world, and you should join my crew. It's basically an excuse to drop information. It's just an info dump. But I don't mind how it's done. I always like when Oda gives us more. I want more. I want more world building, more lore, more history. What's going on with all the different key players in the world? I want to know. So apparently, the Revolutionary Army members, to try and get back Kuma, they don't say, this could be a translation thing, but I saw nothing that indicated who was successful. Did they get Kuma back? Get out of there. Did Julie Ribani reveal herself and help with the escape and get out of there? Did anybody get killed? Did Garp get involved? We have no idea. Did this disrupt the entirety of Reverie and now they're on, red alert across the world or something? Or something. Did they murder some of the celestial dragons on their way out? Who knows? And what did Shanks talk to the Gorosei about? Like, all this stuff is still information we don't have, but I saw nothing to indicate who succeeded. All I saw was that the Revolutionary Army leaders went after in Marijois, and Fujitora and Ryokogu, or the Green Bull Admiral, were the ones to fight him. That is all that we are indicated, that the two admirals went up against the 4 Revolutionary Army leaders. Now, did they succeed? That is going to be the big question for quite a while. I guarantee you, Wano Act 2 is going to be at least twice as long. We won't know the outcome of this battle, in my opinion, until at least the late 900 chapters. I'm talking 960 plus, at least, at the very least. Still love it, all the stuff. Blackbeard's just looking at this like, za ha ha ha. We have the heavyweights going up. We got Big Mom on Straw Hat's tail. He's the man of the hour. He acknowledges Straw Hat is making waves, way more waves than anybody else right now. Big Mom's hot on his trail. He's infiltrated Wano. Wano's getting all screwed up. Kaido, that monster, he's on the move. Everything is going down all at once. Revolutionary Army, Marijois, admirals. It's just the heavyweights are coming out for the throne. They're all craving it. They all want it. They see it empty, and they're going for it. Blackbeard's just loving this because that's all he wants. He wants this grand. It's a corrupt version of Luffy's dream. It's maniacal, but really cool. We got his new look. It looks great. I really like it. I think a lot of people do. And the info dumping was really cool. Glad to see Mihawk again. Gekomori's alive. I believe he's stronger than he once was. And Shiryu now has a devil fruit. So, that's a thing. So, now we move on to Wano Act 2. However, before we go into the last bit of the chapter, just want to say that the clash between the admirals and the Revolutionary Army happened apparently on the 4th day of Reverie. So there were still multiple days where other things could have happened. Shanks had probably already left. Different details. We don't know the details. That's the thing. But suffice it to say, we don't actually know very much of anything as to what happened in the 3 days leading up to the 4th where they attacked. Many things could have gone down in that time frame. Also, one thing noted in the comments section was that it appears that Blackbeard is wearing Aokiji's glasses. I'm just going to have to say they're similar. They're a little more oval shaped than round. No, I don't believe there's a connection. Good eye for detail. Once again, Oda does hide things like that, kind of sometimes out in the open as a small detail, sometimes in the background, sometimes right in front of your face. So good eye for that, but I'm not of the opinion that those are Aokijis. Now, Wano Act 2. Okay. So we open up with Inarashi and Ashura going at it, Shutemaru. Now, Shutemaru and Inarashi are noted to be going at it, like clang, 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 clang with katanas. And I'm sitting there like, okay, this is the dude who was like treating Jack like he was like lower than him, and Jack did nothing to this guy. Now, you could say that Inarashi was caught off guard, and there's a lot of stuff, but I believe now we're seeing a actual battle-ready Inarashi, same with like Nekomamushi and stuff. I don't believe that they're as weak. Once again, they held Jack off. Remember that? Like they might have gotten beaten, but suffice it that Sulong is not involved right here. The fact that him and Shutemaru are going toe-to-toe, and this is the same guy, something's off with the power scaling for me for that. Like, I like to believe that Inarashi is definitely on that tier, and it appears that Oda wants everyone to note, okay, don't think Inarashi and Nekomamushi are out. Like, that was just hype building with Jack. Like, trust me, these guys are still players. They're still key players in this. And I'm glad for that, because this shows some of the favorite characters that I had since the time skip, being Nekomamushi and Inarashi, are still being very relevant. So, love that. They're clashing, of course, because they're arguing clearly. Shutemaru is basically, suffice to say, there's a lot of details to go into, but suffice to say, at the end of the day, he believes, like a lot of the samurai, that the Kozuki samurai abandoned them for 20 years. And the title of chapter, Blank, is part of that. It's you can't erase that. That's a blank period that you can't just take back. 20 years, we've been like this. You can't just come back and think that everyone's going to be happy and jump for joy. It's not the way it works, and it's very realistic. Now, once again, Kinemon basically says like Inarashi, guys, stop fighting. I understand Shutamaru and everyone around him. Like, Oden was charismatic. If he thought breaking a person down would gain the respect, he would do that. Or if he thought that bringing them flowers would do it, he'd do that. Oden, by the sounds of it, was true Revan. You know, it reminds me very heavily of the stories of Revan from the first Knights of the Old Republic game. If you have not played that and you like sci-fi, like Star Wars, please, I urge you to play it. Probably the best Star Wars game ever. However, Revan was touted as this charismatic leader, someone who could lead a charge of battle as a bloodthirsty warrior and at the same time sit back and be calculating and methodical and caring and all these different aspects. A true charismatic leader, someone that you couldn't hate, you had to follow his words, all that stuff. Someone revolutionary, shall we say. And Shutamaru is an example of this. It's like, we all fell in love with the man named Kazuki Oden. But I didn't sign up to serve the whole damn family. Oden himself was the glue that held everything together. With him gone, the royal family, or Oden's family, I should say, does not mean as much. It does not hold as much weight. He even says, right, Momonosuke. Like, that is not, it's not Shutamaru's duty to serve him. Oden's gone. You know, well, once again, still think Oden's alive over here. But this is part of it. So I'm sitting there like, Shutamaru's not wrong. He brings up some good points here. He really does. But now Kinemon swears he will get him to help them. He will get them on the side. And he says, if you do that, good luck with that. But I don't see it happening. So Shutamaru takes off after the others are very disappointed. Now, we do see in between this that Tama is alive. Think Chopper's there, Tama's alive. It's all good. Just surface wounds, all that stuff. But it was looking pretty dire. We see that the Tengu guy was brought in. I forget his full name. But the Tengu-looking dude who had the Kitetsu blades, he shows back up. And he's all like, here we go. Thank you so much for saving, Tama and all that. Tama's very worried about Luffy. But as Chopper brings up, Luffy has an amazing recovery rate. It's monstrous. He never gives up. I love the line where his spirit never breaks, so he'll be fine. It's kind of like, why do you, Chopper, I know it's coming from Chopper, but it's like, why do you think that you guys kind of, split up for 2 years? His spirit was broken at first. It was Jinbei and Rayleigh that kind of brought him out of it. More so Jinbei than anybody else. But it brought him out of it after Ace's death. His spirit was broken for that moment, for that time. But I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to comfort her and all that stuff. And Chopper doesn't know those details. So, very, very different. After this, we basically jump over to another big reveal. Like, this chapter is so heavy. This is why this review is going to be so long. This chapter is very, very heavy with the characters. Because now we get the confirmation Jack is a title, just like the Drought is a title, and the other names are King and Queen. Of course, the 3 face cards of a deck. Now, if only Ace were alive, then we'd have, a quadruplet thing going on, but whatever. But we see King, who, honestly, before Magellan headed up Impel Down, maybe? I mean, really? We get the King of the Wildfire, and we get Queen the Plague. Queen appears to be a guy who's wearing lipstick and the such, and also like they refer to Queen as a guy. I don't honestly know. Is this another big mom woman, or is this just a big guy who seems to have like a double personality? He keeps shouting random things, and I don't know if this is their speaking manner and it's all off because Jack's being chastised and yelled at and such. And they're talking about 2 kids that you can't torture right or something, and you torture-loving idiot that you are, King. I don't know if that's talking to Queen or if that's talking to King. It would make sense if it was King because he was probably the first Impel Down Warden by the look of his attire and the wings and such. It's very reminiscent of Magellan. So maybe this was the first Warden of Impel Down. And like, oh, there's just so much to unlock here. Now, I don't like Queen's design at all. I was hoping for 3 monsters. Like, Jack looks cool. King looks cool. I was hoping for Queen to be another badass looking like monster zone type user. Probably is. Once again, they're probably all zones. But yeah, I don't know. I just, something about this whole thing just doesn't sit right. Like with me, like that the manner of speaking stuff. I don't know if it's translation, but I found it very difficult to follow. I don't know what you guys thought. Tell me down in the comment section down below, of course. Maybe explain exactly what they're saying and what you think they're saying. From what I took away from it was that Queen is in charge of the torture in the jails and has been unable to break the wills of Kid and Luffy. And King and Queen kind of talk back and forth as like, you're an idiot, you know, you're a moron. Well, you're a bigger moron for some reason. And Jack just sits there and takes it because he looks at them as elder brothers. Now, do I believe they're all siblings truly? No, that's just a term he's using, but they are above him. This is the second calamity and the first calamity. And I gotta say, I really love, even though I'm not a fan of Queen's design, the Plague, love the Wildfire's design. Love King of the Wildfire. He looks awesome. What is his zone going to be? What do you guys think? I honestly have so many ideas because if he's of the Wildfire, and we see the flame thing going on, he's not a Logia. He's not a Paramecia. He's got to be a zone. I think it's easy to say the calamities are all zones. So what mythical zone breathes fire? In my opinion, once again, a mythical zone. That's what I believe that the Wildfire has. Just throwing that out there, ladies and gentlemen, throwing it out there. It could be an ancient one, and they could take liberties like the lion breathing fire, and Kaido's already a dragon. So there's a multiple ideas out there. Mythical makes a lot more sense. I can think of a few fire-breathing, very monstrous, very classic creatures in mythology that would suit the Wildfire. But it still could be an ancient. All 3 could be ancient zones. That'd be another cool aspect to take on it. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of the chapter? The chapter is so loaded with information and so much cool stuff. We saw Blackbeard's reveal, his bounty, what he looks like, Gecko Moria's alive. We saw Mihawk again. We have a lot of info dumping about the Reverie. We see where everybody's standing. We finally get the other 2 calamities revealed. Like, everything is just 926 I doubt will be as good. I can say that right now. I don't think 926 is going to be as good. I don't, because I think we got so much awesomeness, especially at the beginning of this chapter, the first half, that I think that the next chapter, while good, will not be nearly as hype as this chapter was. That being said, guys, what did you think of the chapter? What did you think of the review? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Please like, subscribe. As always very much appreciated. This has been Griever with your Behind the Bar reviews for Chapter 925, Blank of One Piece. Thanks, guys, for watching. Drink responsibly. See ya.